We should be live right now. Now, going to further information we have heading over to the past weekend. That was the All Out pay per view. The controversy before that, bro. I'm shocked it is taking people now to notice the amount of consistent heat CM Punk is getting. Over the overall news, I do want to address something before I go out. I got some fabrication over the recent upload over the Velveteen Dream news and what actually happened involving EC3 and what was happening involving other wrestlers. A commenter brought that up. I'm gonna should get my facts right next time. Can't rewrite the past, so that's tough. Apologies though. But besides that, this is crazy. Over the extensive news that we're getting involving CM Punk, the injury that he suffered while over in the pay-per-view, regardless over the fight that happened, the heat that, and the press conference that, you know, Tony Khan looking like the beta boyfriend that he is, making the bitch talk over him and not even get a word in when it comes to trying to consult the public over anything and regarding the relationship. That's what Tony Khan looks like in my eyes, bro. Tony Khan needs to show some command. Even though people don't like the Vince's management of what he does with talent, he lays down the law. It's either his status quo or you're released. Tony Khan doesn't extensify that because he wants to garner a friendly relationship like the parent that doesn't know how to discipline their children. So he thinks of being their friend, then they actually take respect out of being hard on them. Tony Khan doesn't know this, right? Because he tries to invest his endeavor in trying to just get the amount of talent and doesn't know how to manage the talent. And this is coming out of a guy that has to be responsible for 2 sports teams. That is actually managed by his father. But besides that, Khan needs to take responsibilities of what he has on handle and get control of this. Now there's always heat over boys in the back, and nobody's even their nostalgia is gonna take over in affect that Punk is a cancer. Okay, Punk is a cancer. People don't want to admit that, but it's true. I hate to say it, but it's true. Punk is a cancer, bro. He keeps getting into and fluctuating problems with majority of guys over in the back. He can't control his wording when it comes to talking shit about over his EVPs, his own employees, or in trying to work over his angles, just trying to bury guys so he can look more of a legitimate, honest to God saint, good friend, trying to send his own friend under the bus, all because he helped him over financial struggles. Punk comes around looking like a whiny, entitled, decrepit douchebag. I don't think anybody, even the nicest person in the locker room, even associates with him. They couldn't even bury the hatchet over what was going on with Colt Cabana and CM Punk. And that was just pressed over the public medium when people just wanted to get over some fucking wrestling news. And they come over with Punk trying to make something out of nothing out of something over some dumb crap he has with Colt Cabana. And press that over what's going on with him and the rest of the EVPs. What his problem was Hangman. Screw them all. Screw you guys if you support it. That doesn't sound like a guy that I can push over for the company. And people trying to unequivocally support this over because Punk is a draw. They barely even bump over 100K whenever they're going over the monthly pay-per-views. And people try to compare that to one of the women. Bro, there's barely even 2 women that draw at least a subsequent amount on Rampage. And the only person who carries that women's division is Britt Baker. On God, because I know what Britt Baker is. She's a doctor, and she's an asshole. So I'm a dentist. I would be a dentist. I forgot how the song goes. It was a good ass song. But besides that, it just shows the extensive amount of unprofessionalism a majority of the AEW wrestlers have when it comes to pressing over backstage matters and try to push them over to a shoot and make it a work and make it, the huge conversation around what goes over on AEW. It's always got to be pushing over the negative press when you guys are trying to sell out arenas. That shouldn't be the case. And Tony Khan has no disciplinary action over superstars because they're badass kids that are overpaid prima donnas. And now they're in the same issue that WCW was. Tony Khan comparing himself to late 90s WCW. Your 2000s WCW with a shorter lifespan. And Khan's not trying to justify that because he has so many guys over on payrolls that already have their own shit going. They're not even going to listen to the guy that even got him to this opportunity to begin with, or else they'd be back on Ring of Honor or WWE catering. Or worse, Impact, where you would make minimum wage a Canadian would even scoff at. So I'm just conflicted on what the idea for AEW coming forward, because they already had to vacate both the world title and the trios title, even though the trios belts just got introduced. And now they're making a short little tournament involving legitimate guys that I'd rather see hold the world title than Punk in any day. Like Chris Jericho having a two-time reign doesn't bother me. Danielson is okay. Moxley, it's overdone, but at least he looks like a legitimate ass kicker. Like CM Punk talks like this, an overprivileged prick that you didn't get his grande macchiato right, and trying to act all tough. No, you don't. You look like a lanky, tattooed crackhead with the bare minimum of mic skills. And majority of the times you're in these feuds, you're carried over guys that are over than you. And some of them, you're the babyface over all this, Punk. That's why I'm always like trying to understand why people were trying to push over, like the Summer of Punk was ruined. Like guys needed CM Punk over their development. Jeff Hardy needed CM Punk. Chris Jericho needed CM Punk. Daniel Bryan needed CM Punk. He had a higher ceiling and he had more of a supportive fan base than CM Punk. Makes no sense. Makes zero sense. The Shield, a development future. They were more elevated with John Cena and Randy Orton and Big Show than and Ryback. Ryback did more to actually make the Shield more important than CM Punk did, just being the cowardly pussy. And he wasn't even the better guy in the mic. It was Paul Heyman. Like, all I can remember is that your arms are too small to box with God. Yeah. Like, he sucks, bro. Come on. I know some people would disagree because Punk does have promising, like, mic skills, but man, come on. Who do you think carried that feud with him and MJF? You really think MJF got overtaken in the mic skills department in that storyline he had with Punk? That was the best thing that year because what MJF was saying, what he was doing. MJF looked more of a legitimate star than he was feuding with Cody and Jericho. Those small arms, those shitty tats, and he comes around still portraying over this overprivileged nature that's displayed over on the promos that he has with Hangman, Eddie Kingston, Moxley, Omega, the Bucks. It just feels like everybody over in the locker room just hate his guts, and nobody's willing to admit it, except a certain few that actually are outspoken. But I'm not going to take it over with Eddie Kingston's baby ass that whines over getting fat shamed because you are fat, bro. The reason why you're not getting TV time is because you're not pleasant to look at on television, bro. We know an Eddie Kingston. We know a guy in our local bodega that gets the right amount of crust on our sandwich. That's Eddie Kingston. And this is just more pleasant when I'm looking over in the Bleacher Report news, and they're using Figure 4 ringside. Oh god, they're using Dave Meltzer as a legitimate source when it comes to wrestling news because nobody else wants to talk about it, bro. It is sad, and we're just extensifying more of this crap because this is the amount of press over in the media that AEW can suffice because nobody wants to watch their product. And Punk just makes that worse because he doesn't elevate in any stakes. And I want to hear more of this because Booker T even got some words to say over that Booker T's first-hand experience seeing the mainstream wrestling company going through struggles. The two-time Hall of Famer recently joined Wrestling Inc. senior news editor Nick Hausman for the exclusive conversation. and has asked about the backstage drama from what went down in the AEW All Out, and did it reflect on the dying days of WCW in 2001? He said not at all. Booker said totally different. It was totally different. The atmosphere in 2001 was from WCW when they were financially losing $60 million over the previous calendar year, and they were about to get bought out around March of 2001, bro. The dying days of the second biggest wrestling promotion at that time period, and still yet for many other feds to actually repeat that amount of mainstream success that WCW had. You'd think over most of these guys losing their jobs and the possibility of them getting financially just put over on AT&T contracts until they're going to be possibly bankrupt or snatched over like cheap buyouts from the WWF. You could see the writing on the wall that the plug has been pulled. We were just waiting on the doctors to come tell everybody it's over. You know what I mean? Right now, Tony Khan still got a whole lot of money, his father's money. He's invested. He's all in. No pun intended. Come on, Booker. Come on, bro. I know you got your own podcast, so you're gonna make these shitty jokes with this company. And I think he's having to do everything he possibly can to make this thing work. I wouldn't even think Tony Khan is going to even start thinking about anything other than making this thing successful. If he gets that 5-year mark and things not working out, he might start thinking then. Like, they're already like pushing over the plug that they can't even keep the legitimate stars. Even on the same page when it comes to trying to get one another over. And we're already seeing these ploys over stars asking for the release, having issues over backstage, or getting in way too close into relations with their own promoter out of Tony Khan, bro. I just don't think this is a smart business plan. And you see it's not working on their favors over what happened after All Out, bro. And this will happen even further on if they don't keep their TV deal with TBS, or at least extensify any dealings that they can do with pay-per-views. Because AEW thinks less is more when they have very little to bring to the table, and they think they're just good with only one select amount of what they can do. When it comes to barely any promoted homegrown stars with not that many well-known characters, except possibly Chris Jericho and Punk, and MJF somewhat, that are not commercial, and a majority of the wrestlers are not commercially viable, that they can be like well known around just outside of being a wrestling fan. And just knowing how much the ratings do somewhat plummet around being consistently mediocre, to not even pass around like bottom tier primetime TNT basketball. It just shows how much AEW is just struggling to keep over like a consistent format, or at least a consistent amount of growth from trying to build over their product that can actually get over a general audience, like just casual viewers. So that's what I feel like AEW is struggling over, and this is just more further reason why they're just having an issue and trying to actually build upon themselves, bro. Come on. But that's just my opinion. How do you guys feel down below? I understand. I'm trying to make this brief. I'm not trying to waste a lot of energy right now. I already saw clips over work for what happened involving the Thursday night kickoff game involving the LA Rams against the Buffalo Bills on Thursday night. The Super Bowl champions got shut out on opening week. Are you kidding me? Like 10-31, and Josh Allen went off, and he's already an MVP candidate. This is just insanity. And just knowing they picked up Jamison Crowder, and I think they got Allen, and this is what Allen Robinson, and nearly the exact same defense, except they lost Von Miller over to the Buffalo Bills. This is just ridiculous. What's poppin', Sonic? I didn't thank you enough for that Tyler Hero video. If we're nearing 200, what are we on right now? I think we're on 191. And I want to thank everybody for popping up for that Bianca Belair video. That's actually been a while since I actually did a constructive criticism on a wrestler. But besides that, that's technically all I got involved in the AEW, uh, you know, AEW news. Good to hear, Sonic. Good to hear. It's near the weekend, so just hopes that you're just chilling, man. And just keeping it brief, I might or might not stream like 1 o'clock games, 1 to 4 o'clock games around Sunday night for the opening games for the week 1 of the NFL season. I can't do prime time. I'm probably going to be working later at night, but I will be going over the Niners game against the Chicago Bears, and I'll probably use Red Zone so we can update around the league. But besides that, I guess that's the most I have updated around content-wise for the rest of the week. And I don't know if I'm going to be streaming around Monday. Okay, I might. Because I got a bit of a more comfortable setup. And when I get more further stuff in there, I don't know what I'm going to do when I hit 200 subscribers. I'm still having that fizzle through the cracks and see what I can do because everybody was doing Q&A. We'll get you into YouTube. Can we get an ugly ass face reveal? Like you can see my face on like older videos that I did consistent reviews, so you won't be surprised. And possibly like if you want more personal questions over what's my favorite team or what I want to think about the NFL season, you're welcome to ask anything, except where I live, where I work, and just the stuff that just to make sure you guys dox me and shit. Thanks for watching the DST show. That's it for me, and I hope you subscribe, like, and share for more.